Right now, I am at the Gettysburg Museum of History in one of the World War II rooms. And in some past episodes of American Artifact, well, we have talked about helmets of World War II. I'm a big fan of helmets. If you don't like helmets, I honestly think there's something wrong with you. Well, today, we're going to be going over to the new annex and pulling some new helmets out that have just recently come into the Gettysburg Museum of History that have some pretty cool history attached to them.
We are back at the Gettysburg Museum of History's annex in my office to do a little showcase of some items that just came in. And we've been doing some of these just to keep you in the loop. We're moving along with the progress of building the new museum, but in the meantime we've been kind of mothballing some artifacts that recently came in just so we could have a lot of really neat new items at the new museum once it does open. So one of my favorite things, period, in World War II are helmets, especially interesting helmets, ones that really can tell a story. And a while back we did an American Artifact video where we featured painted trophy helmets. And you may remember this one. This was a Big Red One painted trophy helmet. Of course, it's a German helmet, a model 42, and it's been painted by a Big Red One soldier putting his unit sleeve patch here and the places he was during his service. And he painted a German insignia on here because this helmet, I believe, never had decals on it or anything. So he decided to paint one on there. Pretty nice condition. I think it was an unissued helmet. It seems to be in pretty mint condition. There's no sweat lines in the liner. But recently, so you've seen this one if you watch our channel, recently we got this. And this is an American helmet from another Big Red One guy, and he has his name on here, Lieutenant Walsh K. Kahn. And he kind of put some slogans on there, to hell with Hitler, it's over. And he put some of his buddies' names on there and the places he visited as well. There's also the V for victory. And I've never seen one quite like this. He added some insignia on here, which I found pretty interesting. A Signal Corps collar disc and an enlisted disc when apparently he was a lieutenant. This is an officer's collar device too, the U.S. But what an interesting helmet, and we were really happy to get that. And it's kind of interesting to have all those different names on there. The gang, pretty cool. So I'm going to show you another Big Red One item. It's not a helmet, but I thought since we were doing these Big Red One items, I would show you this as well. Now this is a piece of a German plane. Obviously it has the insignia painted on it, but the way it relates to his helmets is simply that it was taken by a Big Red One soldier. And we recently got this too, and a family member of that vet decided to part with it, and we were able to obtain it for the museum. This was brought home by Leslie Goodrich, who was in the 1st Infantry Division. And it's a nice big piece. You know, these come in different sizes. We have a smaller version of the insignia that was cut from a plane in the museum, currently on display, but this one's not been displayed yet. Again, this will go in the new annex of the museum, but a really interesting piece, and what an interesting war trophy.
These helmets are just cool as heck, and like Eric, I have to say I've never seen another one like this one. Now we have some other helmets that we're going to get to, but this one right here has some particular meaning to both Eric and I, and you can see it's just a plain World War II era M1 helmet. But what makes it special to us is who signed it. So this is Jack Moran's signature. Jack Moran was in the 87th Infantry Division, and Eric and I had a chance to travel to Europe with Jack and walk the battlefields with him when we went with Andrew Biggio, who's the author of the rifle. And Jack doesn't really, to our knowledge, have a whole lot of items that he brought back, and we wanted to have something in the museum to remember him by. So he came out and visited Eric and visited the museum. And while he was here, Eric had him sign this helmet so that we can have a memory of Jack in the museum and can have that here to help tell his story, in addition to the videos on the YouTube channel.
A few more helmets that recently came in that are extremely rare, hard to find. I'm going to start with this. This is an SS camouflage covered helmet, and the camouflage covers are really rare because a lot of American soldiers that brought them home, they didn't care about the cover. They cared about what was underneath, and a lot of times they just pulled these off. And most of the ones that you see that came out that are in collectors' collections are ones that were like left over after the war, and they're usually in mint condition. They also made some after the war out of parts, so you have to really, really be careful with these. We wanted one for our collection. We're doing a mannequin with an SS combat soldier, and I wanted one that actually was used. So I was able to obtain this one recently. This was actually combat worn. It has the proper wear here at the lip, some tears in it. I didn't want a mint condition one that was never used, that was just left over at the end of the war. So this is a great example of an SS covered helmet with combat use. So this literally just came in, a few months ago. And I'm going to move over to this. This is another relic helmet that came out of that Russian collection. We talked about it in an earlier video. We had an Army double decal. This is a snow camouflage helmet. It's a double decal SS helmet, M35, and you can see here it originally had the national colors or the swastika underneath, like a standard double decal M35 helmet, but it has an extra runes decal over it, and so that is pretty much a 100% true statement that this could be said that this is from the Viking division of the SS, and they fought in Eastern Europe and Russia, and this was recovered there, and so they had a double decal with the runes on it, and the area that it was found in was where they fought, so we're confident that that's who it came from. And again, it's in really good shape for a relic. It did lose the liner. Some of these that came out of that collection still had the liner. This has a little more pitting than the Army one that was in a previous video, but again, a double decal snow camouflaged SS helmet is extremely rare. I'm going to talk about a couple more helmets that just came in, and we're going to round this out with some 101st stuff. I'm particularly interested in the 101st Airborne, especially Easy Company, because of our connection with the Major Dick Winters collection. I'm going to start with this. This is a German M42 helmet, and it's painted as a trophy helmet by an American soldier that was in the 101st Airborne. And again, he put all the places he went on this helmet: capture of Berchtesgaden, Eindhoven, England, Market Garden, Ardennes. Just a really great helmet. Now, trophy helmets from the 101st Airborne are really rare, and there's a lot of fakes, so you really have to watch it. This one, we know where it came from, we know what collection it was in, we're confident that this is 100% real, the paint is old. Yeah, it seems like some of the other units had local or like in-unit artists that painted these things. You see the same type of artwork on helmets, so probably like the 29th Division seems to be one of the units that had the most painted helmets, but 101st ones are pretty rare. We have two in our collection, and those are the only ones I've seen one other one in Bill Shea's collection, But that's really about it. They're extremely rare. So we're very happy to get this very recently. Now I want to go over to here. This is a helmet liner, and it's painted with the spades from the 506 Parachute Infantry Regiment, 101st Airborne, and the tick mark there that you see is 2nd Battalion. So of course that's the unit that Easy Company was in. So it would be for D, E, and F Company, 2nd Battalion. The tick marks would go, if it's headquarters, it would be at 12 o'clock. If it was 1st Battalion, it would be at the 3 o'clock position. 2nd Battalion, it would be at the 6 o'clock position. And 3rd Battalion, it would be at the 9 o'clock position. So that's how the tick marks go. 2nd Battalion 506 helmets, again, are extremely rare. This came out of another big collection that I know. And you might be saying, why has it got lacquer on it? Well, unfortunately, in the 1960s, it became a trend with some painted helmets to put lacquer on. Some collectors believed that was a good idea. I believe that's when that happened. It also has the spade painted on the other side. You can also see where there was another spade. It was very common to see authentic helmets painted multiple times. The paint would scratch off or whatever, and they would redo them. So this was painted twice. Now, it has a laundry number inside. Now, this is a later version. This is what's called a Westinghouse liner. So this is a post-Normandy, for the most part, helmet. This type of buckles came out after Normandy. Most Normandy authentic helmets that you see, or almost all of them, will have the earlier type buckle. So this is mostly used in somewhat in Operation Market Garden, but more likely in the Ardennes and the later war period. And it has a laundry number inside, and we've tried to do a little bit of research on here to try to figure out who had this helmet. And we're coming up with, I think, 2 names, if I remember correctly, and both were in Fox Company. But some of you guys are really into that and love doing that, and I don't know if somebody can find out something else. But it'd be neat to really nail down exactly who wore this helmet. But yeah, you got the laundry number, and with the laundry number, you know, it's only the last 4 digits and the initial, so sometimes it can be not an exact science. But we were happy to get this, and again, it's extremely rare to find an original. Despite the lacquer, it's still an amazing piece. And then that brings us to this one, and this is just amazing. This helmet is named, this again is the 2nd Battalion 506 helmet, and this is the helmet and liner. And again, it's a later Westinghouse liner. It has the same kind of buckles, and it has the later chin strap. Now, what's really great about this, besides the fact that it's 2nd Battalion 506, is it is named, and it is named to one of the members of Easy Company 506. And his name was Flores. His name is scratched into the front. And we believe that this helmet was probably lost in the Ardennes and picked up by someone else. They couldn't get supplied for a while because Flores was not a lieutenant. And this was painted later over top of his name, this lieutenant bar. So we believe this was picked up at some point and used by a lieutenant. They would recycle helmets all the time. Someone else who was in 2nd Battalion 506. And it has the follow me stripe on the back for an officer as well. But the name Flores is in there, and I believe his serial number is in there somewhere too, scratched in. But what's really interesting about this also is the rarity. We know of, and I may be missing one, but there's a lot of fakes. Again, a lot of fake helmets. A lot of the Easy Company veterans that became famous, reenactors and people like that, painted existing helmets and sent them to him. My friend Brad Freeman had one at his house, and it was painted post-war. Some reenactor sent it to him because most people had to turn in their helmets. To our knowledge, we think there's 3 Easy Company helmets in existence that we believe are authentic. But I'm going to start with the first one I know of, which is in the National World War II Museum in New Orleans, Louisiana, and that was given to Dr. Stephen Ambrose by a family member of Easy Company when he first wrote the book Band of Brothers. And he started that museum, and they have it in their archives. They don't even have it on display. I asked to see it one time, and they didn't know where it was. I couldn't believe that. And then the second one, of course, is this one, the Flores helmet. We've known about this for a long time. It was in a collection in Belgium. It's noted, collectors know about it, and this was obtained recently by our good friend Michel Detrez, who owns the D-Day Experience in Normandy, and he bought this collection in Europe, and he knew I was looking for an Easy Company helmet, and because this is a late war configuration, this is definitely an Ardennes period and later helmet, he was not interested in putting this in the D-Day Experience, so he sold it to me. We've said in other videos, we do a lot of business together, we try to work together, and so he sent this to me, and so we're really happy to get it. And speaking of the D-Day Experience Museum, the third Easy Company helmet that we know of is one that recently surfaced in England and is now in the D-Day Experience. And I'm not sure if I assume they put it out by now, but we were there last May, and they grabbed me and they said, hey, we have to show you something. And they brought me into their office, and they had Joe Toy, the famous Easy Company soldier's helmet that surfaced in England. And I examined it in person, and I was convinced it was original, and they had provenance for it and everything. It's been posted on some of the forums, and some people cried fake, like they cry fake about everything. But it's an authentic helmet, and it says right in their Toy and has a serial number, so it was pretty neat that a third Easy Company helmet has surfaced in the last year or so. But those are the three Easy Company helmets that I know of. We're really happy to have Flores' helmet in the Gettysburg Museum of History, and again, this was a nice little sampling of some of the newest helmets that we got at the museum that will be in the new annex to the Gettysburg Museum of History.
All right, well, there you go. Those are just a few more of the helmets that are part of the historical collection here at the Gettysburg Museum of History. Keep watching, because we have all kinds of new things that have come into the museum that we're going to be sharing right here on the channel.